How you doing, guys? Chad here at the Hidden Spring Farm. And I've been working at this for a few years now. I think it's been about 2 years. I've been working hard, trying to figure it out, and I still don't have it. It's gonna take a lot of practice. I've been practicing, and man, we're talking about practice! I'll get it one day though. I'm gonna keep working on it. So stick with me, and we'll get into the video, and I'll explain what I'm talking about. You're gonna need more practice! It's a beautiful sunny day here in Ontario, Canada, and I'm still working on getting the farm ready for winter. I'm in firewood processing mode, and I got my tractor out. I got the mule that's towing the log splitter, and I thought I'd get out in the wilderness here and enjoy some of the weather while I prepare some firewood and talk to you guys a little bit about what I've been lacking here on the farm, what I really need to improve upon. Molly's here hanging around while I work. Hey, Molly. Hey, Molly, you being a good girl? High five! High five! Yeah! Yeah! You see, we have all this firewood storage space here, but it's not full. I started splitting this stuff here, but it started to snow the other day and I got trapped in it. I got all these big, huge stumps to split up into firewood. And this stuff here has been sitting for 2 years plus since before we bought the place. This is a little setup that I put together. I like to have everything right here. I got my sawbuck that I built last year so that I don't have to bend. I got the splitter right here that's attached to the mule. And I have my farm tractor bucket here, and that's where I put all the finished logs. And it kind of makes it easier for me. I don't have to do so much walking back and forth. I didn't do this obviously last year. I've just kind of figured it out. You know, the light bulb went off in my head. And I can just move the tractor over to wherever I'm putting the firewood, and it's so much easier. I was just cutting up some of those logs to turn into 16-inch pieces for firewood, as firewood most commonly is 16 inches in length. They vary in girth and chunks, but usually it's 16 inches in length. And I got a Stihl saw last year, and it's all really I need for the farm. I feel like it's really served the purpose. I'm not a firewood processor. I gotta prepare some firewood for the farm. I gotta prepare some firewood for the fire pit, and we have farm stay guests. So usually what I do is I give them a small bundle to start off with, and anything above and beyond any wood that they want to use, they're going to have to bring their own, or they're going to have to purchase it from me. I'm not going to supply, you know, $20, $30, $40 worth of wood. That just doesn't make any sense. This is a Stihl MS362. I don't know much details about it, but I know it's powerful. I know it's like a boss here on the farm, and it's got a 20-inch bar. It serves my purpose. Now, since we bought this farm last year, it was last January, so that was January 2020, we bought the place and we took over the property in July, and ever since then I've been really focused on learning as much skills as I can on firewood, meaning firewood prep, the dimensions of firewood, what type of wood do you use, that kind of stuff. Learning an awful lot about safety as well, because when it comes to logging and forestry, what I've learned is that it can be extremely dangerous, especially for people who are not with it like me, you know, like I'm just really in a learning phase still. Got myself one of these cool looking logger helmets, you know, it's got the ear protection on the side, it's got a nice shield so that all the wood chips don't get into your face. I also have these cool looking chaps. You know, they just strap on the outside of your pants, and it gives you a lot of extra protection, and you never know if a chain slips and it digs into your pants. This will just give it that extra layer of protection. Been learning how to mix the gas with the oil. Been learning how to change these bars, and I've been learning how to change the chain to a brand new chain. But there's one thing that I still can't seem to grasp. I've been working on this ever since. It's been a couple of years now. I've been practicing a lot, and that's how to keep the chain sharp. There's a lot of ways that I've learned that a chainsaw gets dull very quickly. The most common way, and I've done it so many times during the beginning of my chainsaw career, is stick the chain into the dirt. And man, that just dulls up your chain in a matter of seconds. It's pretty incredible actually that it can just take a couple of seconds hitting all the grit and the sand and the junk, this little stones that's inside the soil. That's no good for the chain at all. And I mean, that's easier said than done, because sometimes there's a big log right on the ground. You know, I'm trying to cut through it. Boom, it's hitting the soil. So then what do? Then I learned this. As you're cutting the big log on the ground, you only cut 3/4 of the way through. And then you roll the log, and then you cut the rest. And it prevents your chain from digging into the soil. Now again, that's a lot easier said than done, because I just showed you a little demonstration of a small little stump, but what if it's like a huge log? Then, you know, you could be in trouble. So you got to figure that out as you go. I've also acquired a whole bunch of other little tools to make my life easier when I'm preparing firewood. One is this kind of hook pick type thing. And where that's useful for is if you're trying to move some logs and they seem to be stuck, or you just want to shift it a little bit rather than using your two hands and bending over to try to move it. I've also got this little gizmo. It's a weird looking thing. It's like a big jaws, and what that's useful for is actually picking up little stumps. You know, it can pick up logs too and move them, but obviously it'd be too heavy. But you can use it for picking up anything as large as 16 inches in diameter. And there's different sizes of these kind of caliper type things for logs. But it's all just designed to make my life easier so I don't have to bend and squat. Nobody likes bending. But still, with all that equipment and all the YouTube videos that I watch and all the books and magazines that I've read, I'm still not great at sharpening the chain of the chainsaw. And I'm talking sharp. Like anybody who's ever used the chainsaw and you've put on a new chain straight out of the box, you know what I'm talking about. It's like a fresh out of the box feel, you know? It just, all of the chain, they just bite into the wood. And as it's cutting, it leaves these huge wood chips. It's something I still need more practice on. Now, let's get into the workshop and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Go. Go. I bought this little tool from Stihl at the Stihl dealer. Stihl. Anyways, it's pretty cool. It's got this and this, 2 different sizes. Then it has all your little flip out little screwdrivers. This little flat one is the one most commonly used for adjusting the tension on the chain. I don't even know what these 2 are for, but it's handy. I bought this stupid thing off of Amazon. It's difficult to explain, but basically you take the thing apart, you stick your chain blade in there, you know, like that would go in there, and basically there's a little stone inside, and then that's supposed to sharpen up your chain. Honestly, it worked for like a couple of times, but then the little stone inside got so worn out, like, so you're gonna have to change the stone every like 3 weeks, right? There's a little stone in there. Anyway, I think it was 20 or 30 bucks. A little bit of a waste of money. This is my problem. I've been so intimidated by the chainsaw, sharpening it, adjusting it. I've been like scared really to attempt it. And this was the last straw. I purchased this, I used it, I've bought like, oh, my chain got dull, and I went ahead and I just bought a new chain, not even realizing that you should be sharpening it. You can extend the life a long time if you just knew how to sharpen your chain. And that's when I came to the realization that I just need to learn how to sharpen it the old school way. So now I got myself this little gizmo. This is the right size file for my size chain. Ooh. I bought this in a whole little plastic case. There's a whole bunch of other parts, and I don't know where it is. I lost it. Friggin' lost it. Maybe it's in the drive shed. I don't know. But what this is supposed to do, guys, there's like a bunch of little scored lines on here that tells you basically what degrees you're supposed to sharpen. And I think it's this one here, 30 degrees. There's also this little tiny line on the chain itself, which is kind of like a guide that tells you what the angle to sharpen is. Now, what I have learned about these chains is that this top edge here is like the cutting edge. Then this little half moon shape here is like the gullet, and that's also sharp, and it's to be sharpened at the 30-degree angle also. And then there's the rakers, which is like a depth gauge that tells the chain how far into the wood it can go. Now, what I've also learned is that you need to mark your starting point so you don't lose track. As I pass through, I always like to, give it one pass and then take the file out. Some guys just go like this, and I don't like doing the back and forth motion. I like doing it all in one motion. Don't forget, you got the top blade here, and you also have the gullet. So one of the tricks I've learned is that you have to pull this up in an upward motion in order for you to get underneath the cutting edge. Then you want to make sure you get the gullet in there. You have to push this in a backward motion. And you always got to make sure to get this at the right angle. Okay, that about does it. Let's get out of here and see how good of a job I did with this chainsaw sharpening. You guys see how sharp that was? I think I did a pretty good job. That was cutting like a hot knife through butter. Woo! Proud of myself right now. Yeah. I may have it. Anybody got any tips out there? Any lumberjacks? Any timbersmiths? Any loggers? Any firewood professionals? Help me out and give me some tips, okay, would you please? Now I just gotta get this stuff split. Yes! Something so relaxing about having this kind of a hobby, you know, like, I mean, it's not really a hobby, it's a little bit of work on the farm, but I just love being outside. I'm sure that goes for a lot of folks all around the world. They just love being outside. I always think of stacking firewood kind of like the video game Tetris, you know, back in the day. Tetris, you know, you got to fit all the different size pieces all together in a puzzle and stack it up high. Firewood Tetris. Some of these pieces have a lot of bark still left on them. I just leave the bark on. I mean, it burns, it'll dry out, but I always put that on the top so that when all the rain and snow falls in here, it's not really going to soak into the interior of the logs. What are you guys doing? Molly, are you playing with the cats? Chunky, Dexter, you guys okay? What'd you find? Maggie, you okay? What'd you guys find over there? You guys find a mouse? Anyways, guys, I'm going to continue playing Tetris with these logs. Really do appreciate you watching. Hope you're enjoying following along, watching me learn how to run the farm. A lot of things to know on a farm. Unbelievably, a lot of things. I've learned so much in the year and a half that we've had this place. But I still got a lot to learn. Still got a lot to learn. I appreciate you watching. You guys take care, okay? Oh, don't forget to click that subscribe, guys. I almost forgot. Pound that like for me, please, if you like the video. Follow along on our journey of transforming this old hobby farm into an amazing and beautiful farm stay and experience. It's quite the project. It's going to take years. We got a lot planned, but you'll have to stay tuned for that.